I'll introduce the format to the debates. Okay, so each candidate will be given 1 minute to introduce themselves. This will be done in alphabetical order. We will then take 3 pre-submitted questions, and the candidates will have 1 minute to answer the question. This will be done in a rotating order, starting with the candidate that is first alphabetically. After this, there is time left where we will take questions from the floor. All questions need to be directed at all candidates. Also, reminder that the hashtag is HUDvotes. Please use that. We do have a tweet rule to my left. It has been filtered, so no naughty shit. And live on Radio Hard as well, as I've just found out. So no swearing. Right, so let's get started. I'd like to introduce the first set of candidates, and they are those that are standing for Vice President, Wellbeing and Equalities. That is Lucy Clark, Nicola Edwards, Leanne Hunter, Jess Pickle, and Sienna Smith. Okay guys, should we get started? Unfortunately, Nicola Edwards could not come tonight due to personal reasons, so we've got Karis sitting at the end there. Give us a little wave, Karis, who's going to be doing a 1 minute statement on behalf of Nicola. Okay, so 1 minute to introduce yourselves, candidates. Let's start off with Lucy Clark, please.
So I'm Lucy Clark, I'm running for VP of Wellbeing and Equalities, and I've always made sure that I'm not a politician. What I say is what exactly I'm going to do. I'm not going to lie about some unrealistic goal. My manifesto includes better mental health care, like representation for different types of mental health issues, understanding what they actually are. I also want better representation for male victims of domestic abuse. I don't think this is very covered in society around the SU. I'd also like a better connection between the SU and the international office. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Lucy. Okay, next up we have Nicola Edwards / Karis.
I'm very involved with the Students' Union in many different ways. I'm a Students with Dependents rep on the council, where I have participated in many campaigns and activities as possible, such as Save the University Health Centre and Student Volunteering Week. I gave a strong relationship with the Advice Centre and have run campaigns and fundraisers along with them and current VP of Wellbeing and Equalities. I'm also an NUS delegate for which I am currently working on national policies alongside our own as well as national offices. I am an active member with activities and the SU provide, such as Women's Rugby, Ultimate Frisbee, and I'm very involved with Radio HUD. Some of my policies include continuing the campaign against the university's health centre cuts, campaigns for cheaper food prices around campus, and lobbying organisations outside the university to lower their rent prices. I'd also like to make the campus more child-friendly, as well as developing the relationship...
Okay, that's time, candidate. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Leanne Hunter.
Okay everyone, I'm Leanne and I want to be your VP Wellbeing Officer. I believe I'm the best candidate because I believe in everyone's fundamental rights and I'm passionate about your well-being. I have the desire to respond to students' voices and I want to make sure that you all enjoy your time at university whilst promoting your well-being and have the best welfare for you guys. I want to collaborate with HUDlets and student housing accommodations to drive down house prices to make it more affordable for you guys. I want to create better facilities for those with children and possibly investigate the idea of having a creche on campus again. And I want to improve mental and sexual health services here at the Students' Union, as I believe mental health is a big topic and it's very taboo and we need to promote this and make sure that everyone's well-being is looked after.
Next up we have Jess Pickthall.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight. I'm a third-year sociology student. I'm president of the LGBTQ+ Society and sit on council as the LGBTQ+ representative. If elected, I would like to start a working policy within Kirklees Council to start the regulation of student accommodation prices. I'd like to fight the cuts to the mental health services and implement schemes within the SU to encourage positive mental health. I would also like to drive down the prices of transport by introducing a taxi accreditation scheme and introducing a student bus pass. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. And now we have Sienna Smith.
Hello everybody. Right, I'm Sienna, I'm a first year podiatry student. So far this year I've been campaigning against sexual harassment in the SU. I'm running for Wellbeing and Equalities because I want to improve life for all students, not just like a specific area of students. My main points are more support for international students so that they feel at home away from home, to investigate the BME gap, and more support for people with mental health conditions. I'm wanting to empower students and get their views, as well as like my main points I want to hear from the students, so any suggestions that they have I take into consideration.
Thank you, candidate. Thank you, candidates. That was splendid. Now to the first questions, and each candidate will have 1 minute to respond. As VP Wellbeing and Equalities, you have a lot of competing responsibilities. What will be your top priority for your time in office? We'll start off with Leanne Hunter.
Okay, so my top priority would be mental health and sexual health, with the cuts being made to the University Health Centre and the university not wanting to put any more funding into the Wellbeing Centre. I believe it's very vital that if elected, I take on this role to ensure that everyone's mental health and sexual health is being looked after, to the possibility where you are not feeling unsafe, or if you're ever in a crisis, that you know you have someone to turn to.
Thank you, candidate. Next is Jess Pickfall.
Thank you for the question. Firstly, my top priority would be whatever the students felt was most important to them. But personally, I feel that a big priority is the price of student rent. There's cases where people's maintenance don't cover their rent, which is absolutely terrible. I don't think any student accommodation should be more than £90 a week. It's Huddersfield, you shouldn't be paying that much. So I would like to see, firstly, what students find is more important, but in my personal opinion, it's the prices of rents because they're too high. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. Next to Sienna Smith.
My top main priority would be international students. I'm from Huddersfield myself, so I want to, make my hometown the best it can be and want people to feel as comfortable as they can here. I think if there's more inclusion and more support for them, then I think they can get further and enjoy their time at university.
Thank you, candidate. And now we have Lucy Clark.
My biggest push is going to be mental health. There's quite a few aspects to it that I think need to be covered. I don't like the layout of the mental health section. It's very exposed. If you go in there to ask about anxiety issues and you're sat there, people walking by, it just isn't appropriate. Another issue is definitely the stigma behind male abuse victims. This could be rape, could be domestic abuse. We don't talk about this as a society, as an SU. You get posters that only seem to have female victims, which is an issue, but I don't think we're talking about male victims enough. I think we should have campaigns, events, hopefully a support group put in place. I also want better recognition of what mental health actually means. I'd like people to understand what depression is instead of just someone feeling sad. It's more than that, and it can be a debilitating issue. I don't think some people understand what that is, and if through more campaigns, through more events, hopefully we can understand what these issues actually mean to people.
Thank you, candidates. Over to our next question. Huddersfield University has a diverse body of students. What will you do to champion equality and diversity across both the Students' Union and university? First up is Jess Pickbill.
Thank you. I think a big way that we should encourage diversity and more involvement from diverse groups is through welfare-centred events. One of my manifesto points was to introduce a interfaith week, so to be a way to people to celebrate their faiths and inform other students about their faith. This event would help increase engagement with all groups and also provide a source of information for those who might not be as aware. It would help encourage unity within the Students' Union and within the university as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, candidate. Siona Smith.
To encourage more equality in the university and in the union, I'd put on more events on the plaza, because I think at the moment it's a very unused space. So rather than just have an international week or an interfaith week, I'd want there to be something constantly going on every month, so that we can all learn from each other and we can respect other people's beliefs and feelings and get a taste of other people's culture.
Thank you, candidate. Next up is Lucy Clark.
I was actually at the interfaith, and I went to the International Week. I saw there weren't many home students there, and I personally think if we could push the international events that are already available and encourage more events, then we can get more home students and more international students mixing. I also like a starter pack for international students who don't actually speak much English, so they can actually understand what the SU is. When I lived in Germany for a while, I didn't speak any German, and it's so scary being in a different country and not speaking the language. So we can encourage them, it's okay, you don't have to speak it straight away, you can speak slowly. We're going to have a better link of different groups. It can be very much international and home. So we can link them together, do different activities, events, push the International Week and get more home students there. Then we can break down stereotypes, racism, expectations of what you think it's going to be like. And hopefully through that kind of thing, we're going to break down, we're going to explore the diversity and indulge in the cultures that we have available.
Thank you, candidate. And lastly, Leanne Hunter.
So, to increase diversity and equality throughout the university and union, I would obviously put on more events and campaigns. I think it's very stigmatised that the international are very much on their own and don't engage much with home students, and I really want to change this because I think we could all learn from each other's cultures. There's different morals and different respects that we can learn from each other, and I think by promoting different cultures as well as our own, no matter what kind of culture that be, we can hopefully learn from each other. But I think the priority for diversity is the awareness, is making people more aware of their different cultures and how everyone can get involved with everyone's events.
Thank you, candidates. On to our last pre-submitted question. Healthcare is an important issue for all students. What will you do to make sure that all students can access top quality healthcare? And we'll start off with Siona Smith for this one.
To ensure that they get the best healthcare, I'd liaise with the healthcare centre and also get as many suggestions from students as to what they want, because at the end of the day, I am here for the students. So I get your views, see what you'd like to see in there. I'd also look at things that are happening around the country to make sure that we're doing the best that we can here and that we're in the top 3.
Thank you, candidate. Next up is Lucy Clark.
As we all know, the price cuts to the Huddersfield Royal Infirmary has been affecting a lot of people. Hopefully to continue Michael's campaign against this kind of cut, a lot of people need this kind of thing. Children could be dying, and people could be dying. I broke my leg last year, and if I hadn't had that place, I didn't even know where I'd have gone. Students can't afford taxis to faraway places. I couldn't afford taxis to Calderdale. Through campaigns, through posters, social media, I want to push this, and I want to keep the healthcare centre at our university private. This is important for contraception, loads of stuff. At university, it's the most stressful time of our lives. We need medication for this kind of thing often. I'm not saying you have to have it. But I really think that if we keep our healthcare centre private, we're going to put less strain on the Royal Infirmary. So yeah, through lobbying campaigns, I really want to continue the process of privatisation of our healthcare centres.
Okay, thank you, candidate. Next up is Leanne Hunter.
Okay, so you're probably all aware that the University Health Centre is already having cuts, or is going to get cuts, and probably won't be around for much longer. So this matter is very much a matter of now. As you're probably all aware that I am very hands-on with the Hands Off HRI campaign. I believe everyone, including students, needs the opportunity to gain access to quality healthcare. If elected, I would liaise with local governing bodies such as the CCG and local authorities to make sure that there are opportunities and places for students to gain the quality healthcare that you all deserve. Just because we're students doesn't mean we shouldn't have the healthcare that we want. I think as a matter of now, it's down to the students to voice their concerns, and to carry that on in the future, I would want to enable your voices much louder out in the community.
Thank you, candidate. And lastly, Jess Pickford.
Would it be alright to hear a repeat of the question?
Yeah, of course. Healthcare is an important issue for all students. What will you do to make sure that all students can access top quality healthcare?
Right, so there are cuts happening to the student mental health, University Health Centre, thanks. There was a survey last year which found what services students use most in that health centre, and that was services to mental health and sexual health, and those are the services which are being cut. To bring these services back, I would like to implement schemes within the Students' Union which help encourage positive mental health. One of which would be setting up a body positivity mentor scheme. Secondly, I'd like to encourage positive mental health through outdoor and nature therapy by supporting local sustainability projects within the community. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. That concludes our questions, our pre-submitted questions, and now we will be taking questions from the audience. Just a little reminder that all questions must be directed at all candidates. Feel free to put your hand up.
If you were VP for one day, what would be the first thing that you'd change?
Okay, we'll start off with Lucy Clark on this one.
The first thing I'd change, well, what can you do in a day really? I'd just go around with like a load of posters. I'd go around with a megaphone and I'd start shouting about mental health, and I'd start saying, you gotta think about it. You gotta think about it. Like, we don't talk about it. It's a scary issue. People don't want to say the wrong thing, they don't want to offend somebody, and we've got to say what it is, and we don't need to push it under the carpet more than we do. I want to push that mental health is something that everyone can suffer from. It's not just me, it's not just someone else. You can do it, you can do it. Anyone can suffer from mental health issues. I think we need to recognise that, and I want to push that. If I had one day as VP of Wellbeing, I'd definitely have a big campaign to show what mental health actually is. Issues actually are. Yes.
Thank you, candidate. Next up is Leanne Hunter.
So there's not much that you can change in one day, but I think the first thing that I would definitely change is listening to you guys. What you guys think would need changing in the year and how you'd want that implemented and what's the best for you. Personally, as Lucy said, I think it would be mental health for myself. We are very stigmatised here at Huddersfield. It isn't just a university thing, it is a local thing. There's not much to access, so I'd probably push for better services for mental health.
Okay, thank you, candidate. Next up is Jess Pickfield.
I don't think that change can happen in a day. It's a long process. But what I would do if I was in the position of one day would be to speak to societies. So as president of the LGBTQ+ society, I found Alicia's contact with me to be very helpful in supporting my role and my personal aim to increase representation of all LGBTQ+ groups within the Students' Union. So there are other people in their own societies and they have their own personal aims for their society. So I'd go and speak to the societies, see what they are, see how I can help support them, and it would help engagement with the SU from all these societies. It would help increase representation. It'll be a very positive thing and something that's very achievable within one day.
Okay, thank you, candidate. Sienna Smith.
If I was VP for one day, I'd do a lot of outreach work, so I'd visit all the schools, like anywhere where there was people, and I'd ask for your views, I'd write them all down, and then I'd pass them on to the person that's going to be there all the time. Hopefully they'll take notice of what you've said and work through these over a process of time, because as everyone said, it can't be achieved in one day. I'd just put motivational quotes everywhere to try and motivate people to be the best that they can be, just trying to be really encouraging and positive so that they can do the best that they can.
Okay, thank you, candidate. Do we have a second question from the floor? I'm going to go with this one in the middle here. Just got to hand up slightly before.
If you were to implement a policy of one of your opponents, which one would it be and why?
So we'll start off with Leanne Hunter for this one.
So the policy that I would probably implement of my opponents would be Lucy Clark's monthly puppy rooms. I think it's a great hit with students and they love seeing the puppies come in. It's a great positive way to make awareness of mental health and promote their mental stability. I think it's a really good policy and yeah, I like it. I think the students like it as well, so it'd be very good.
Thank you, Kenneth. This is a friendly question, isn't it? Next up we have Jess Pickford. Nearly.
Thank you very much for the question. I've noticed through everyone's manifestos that a reoccurring thing is mental health and housing. So that's definitely something which is clearly important to students and something I would definitely implement. I am actually also going to say Lucy Clark's puppy room idea. However, there's one thing I would do to improve it. The problem with puppy rooms is that many people have allergies, so they don't have access to this kind of positive mental health support. So I'd like to introduce a room with more animals, such as perhaps a bunny room or a hamster room, just anything really, because I have a housemate who's allergic to dogs, and he complains every time that, I can't go to the puppy room. So that's one student, there's probably tons more out there who should have access to this.
Okay, thank you, candidate. Next up is Sienna Smith.
If I had to pick one, I'd have to say the mental health one that Lucy said. I just think it's a really big stress for students to talk about mental health conditions, and I think if they have that private space where they can talk and they feel comfortable, it'd be better all round really, and it would raise more awareness.
Okay, thank you, candidate. That concludes. Oh no, sorry. Last but not least, Lucy Clark.
I'd love to choose a lot of things, but I think importantly is nappy changing at the university. As a university, we need to be inclusive, and to be so, we need to make education accessible to everyone. That doesn't just mean an 18-year-old student like us, it means a mother, or maybe an 18-year-old mother who has a child but still wants to further her education. The beauty of universities is that we can all learn, and we can all learn from each other. I think if we had nappy changing, this is the answer I did, just going to say that, nappy changing facilities, why not? It's not a hard thing to do, it's not going to be expensive, it's a realistic thing, and it's going to help quite a few people, so yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you, candidates. That concludes it now, it's been confirmed. So let's have a massive round of applause for all the candidates standing for VP, Wellbeing and Equalities. Okay, we're just going to have a quick 1 minute break while we set up for the next one. Next up, we have the candidates Vice President, Communications and Engagement.